Zerg vs Terran on Proxima Station LE. Let's play the most standard, straightforward macro game that I can, alright? Let's try and see if we can play a very normal, quote-unquote normal, Zerg vs Terran. Now, of course, it does take two to play that game, but one of the things that I have been mixing into my play a little bit more as of late, and I'm still not entirely told whether or not I like it, is indeed the Hydralisk. For some odd reason, a lot of the professional games in Korea, in a lot of the professional matches that the Zerg player, they've been switching into Mutalisk, but then, you know, they go for a bunch of Hydralisk afterwards, or some of them even go directly into Hydralisk and skip the Mutas altogether. It's a bit of an interesting concept. I've tried it a couple of times, and we'll see if we'll see if I can potentially make it work in this match as well, because most of the time that I've tried it thus far, they just sort of get shut down. But technically speaking, right, they should allow you to tech up towards the Hive a little bit faster, while still having enough anti-air to properly deal with your opponent's Liberators and Medevacs and all the kinds of shenanigans. But the one thing that I've noticed about Hydras, of course, is that when you overextend for just a little bit, you can't just fly away. You're gonna have to, you know, commit to the engagement, because otherwise you're just sort of dead. So most of it comes down to you trying to not overcommit and then teching up towards the Hive much faster than you would normally do. Regardless though, I'm gonna try and play the most standard game that I can. So I'm opening up with a hatch, gas into a spawning pool right here as well. So that should allow me to get a very quick Zergling speed going as early as I possibly can, while still being reasonably safe if my opponent decides to go, say for example, for a Reaper rush. 19 supply right now. I'm going to be following this up as well with a Overlord. There indeed. We'll get ourselves another Overlord going. I'll actually send that one over towards his fort base, to also spot the fort base from landing a little while later into the game, but more importantly to scout any kind of dropships that may be sneaking around the outer edge of the map, and then we'll continue droning for a little while longer. Of course, very shortly I want to start up my Zergling speed, and I think we'll go up to about 4 queens here. I think we'll go up to about 4 queens ASAP. Set of Zerglings, pulling the drones out of gas, leaving one in there, starting up the link speed, and then making my second set of Zerglings as well. So we should be good right here, depending on what my opponent is going for. There is indeed a barracks producing a reactor right now. I'm looking if there's already a factory down. It seems like it's a little bit early for that though. So we'll just simply shoo away this little bugger. Does look like there may not be any kind of aggression coming in from my opponent just yet. And we're basically just trying to buy a little bit of time. Oh, there is a factory going down. It's a little bit later. He may actually just simply add on a couple of sets of Marines and then switch into what is it called? The double Hellion production shortly after. There's been a bunch of different builds actually lately in Zerg vs Terran. It's kind of cool to see. A bunch of the Terran players have been, you know, going for like double Cyclone openers really early on into the game. And there's also a lot of transitions toward mech nowadays, which is one of the reasons I think as well why Hydralisk play is all of a sudden a lot more common. Just because Hydralisk are actually really solid at dealing with a lot of the early game pressure. Don't want to lose my first tumor there. Gotta be a little bit careful, of course. We'll do a little bit of a poke in right here, see if that factory is still located in his main base, or if he switched it over with the reactor. Okay. That should be that one taken care of. And indeed, this is going to be just your regular good old Marine drop, more than likely. I'm not seeing the starport just yet, which is a little worrisome. I guess we'll send it back in, but this does look like the standard 16 Marine drop, right around 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Although I would have expected to already see my opponent's... I'm gonna put the drones back into the gas, by the way, but I would have already expected to see my opponent's starport going down, as well as a reactor on that factory. But he can start that a little bit later on as well. There's a couple of different variations that Terran players do go for. Alrighty, so if my opponent is going for the 16 Marine drop, right, I'm gonna start making units right around 4.5 minutes into the game. Until that moment, I'm just simply making as many drones as I possibly can. There we go. We'll go for the double evolution chamber right here at the front. We'll get an additional gas geyser as well. And I'm gonna transfer a bunch of the workers right there towards that newly acquired base. We'll get one more worker because I'm a little greedy. And actually, no, there's a third CC already going down. Very interesting build here from my opponent. So, he is still going to be capable of pressuring quite aggressively. But he's also going for that expansion on the low ground, which is a little bit risky. I'm going to start making units right here nonetheless, though. I want to make sure that I'm going to at least be safe if my opponent does decide to get aggressive. We'll get another queen going. We'll start at 1-1. And very shortly, I'll get my Baling Nest going as well. Yeah, so there my opponent is indeed heading towards the main base. There's actually a Widow Mine in there. And we'll also start up the lair. Very good. We'll leave a couple of the lings over here. And we'll root up that Spore Crawler in just a second. I've already started making drones again. And we're teching up. We're teching up. We're going for as much stuff here as we can. Also can't forget about my Baneling Nest. And let's put that thing over there. That should be that one taken care of. Target fire down the Medevac. Widow Mine is down. And my opponent is indeed taken care of right here. At the very least for now. Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a 4th base going here as well. And of course continue onwards with that creep spread. So Zerg versus Terran, like it's very much so relying on the Zerg player to not take damage in the earlier part of the game. If you die a lot in the earlier part of the game, like say for example you're losing a lot of your games within the first 10 minutes, you probably want to focus really hard on improving your Zerg versus Terran at that point as well. So I'm going for that Hydralisk then right here, right? It's a little strange. I'm not too convinced about this just yet. But, you know, the only way you're gonna get better is if you practice it. So I'm okay with losing. I don't really mind losing. Losing is, you know, just a matter of progress. And I'm trying my best to just simply become a better player, right? And for that very reason, I need to try out different things. I need to try out strategies that the pro gamers are going for as well, right? So it's a matter of practice to just simply figure out what builds are good for you and what builds don't work for you. I'm going to try my very best to see if I can make it work right here. We'll go up into that Hydralisk upgrade ASAP here as well. Let's get a couple of safety banes. And we'll start up our Hydralisk production. We'll also go for 2-2 as fast as we possibly can. And of course, we aren't getting any of the upgrades right here for the Hydralisk, by the way. We don't really plan on sticking them. We're sort of using them, like we're sort of like using them as a stepping stone to go up to a Hive a little bit earlier on as well. So my opponent actually, trying to get a little bit cheeky here. I'm leaving some of these units as well inside of the main base. I don't think we really want to deal with any of this stuff. He's gonna be confused as well once he sees Hydras. I don't think anyone really placed this just yet on the ladder. It's like a new, like it's literally just a couple of days old, it feels like. But they do come out before Mutas come out, and they are pretty strong when it comes to anti-air, obviously. Okay, let's go ahead and get ourselves the infestation pit going. And I'm gonna hide a couple of links right here towards the right-hand side, or the left-hand side of the map, and we'll... Wow, really? Actually, I'm gonna put the Hydras right over there. See if I can potentially pick them off just like that. Oh, interesting. Well, we got more than enough units here. Let's leave the Hydras over there, see if we can potentially pick up some of these units. I don't know where the Medevacs are at. I was hoping they would fly by my Hydras that are positioned outside of the map. But anyway, we get ourselves that Hive going already. We dealt with that aggression. We got that fort base up and running. As long as I don't take any kind of crucial losses, we're going to be in a really solid position here. Trying to remake any workers that I potentially lost here. But we got a solid amount of creep spread. And creep spread is another one of those things that has become a lot more important, I would say, over the last year or so in Zerg vs Terran. That allows the... Like, if you don't have creep spread, you definitely don't want to go for these units. Because without creep spread, it's going to be very difficult to really achieve anything. So there's once again a little bit of a shimmer right there on the minimap inside of my my fort base. I saw a little bit of a shimmer there. And we're just playing defensive right here, right? We're just simply playing very defensive. I do ideally want to try and see if I can get some more banelings just in case. And I think we want to try and see if I can shoo my opponent away here as well, because he's being a little annoying there. Okay. Hive is just about to finish up. Oh, gotta be careful there, Lowko. Making a lot of Zerglings here. As well as that Ultra Cavern. So this is the push that I need to defend. This is an important one to defend. I'm getting a ton of Zerglings right now. I'll try and send a couple of units here towards the left-hand side of the map as well, just in case. And as long as we can smash away this attack, we're going to be in a great position. You know what? He's on siege right now. Let's go. Let's go. So I'm trying to surround here as well, trying to make sure that we don't roll the banelings into the siege tanks. And I think we cleaned this up easy peasy. Easy peasy. Okay, going for that Ultra Cavern. Going for 3-3. And I think that we may very well have to push into the gold base a little bit more aggressively. As there are indeed a lot of units here. Oh god, we gotta be careful. Yeah, okay, we'll back up here. We'll back up here. We'll go run around instead. This is the point where we get to be a lot more aggressive now, which is nice. But he does have a solid amount of economy, which is a little worrisome. Ultralisk Cavern, done. Starting up the chitinous plating. Starting up a bunch of veins here as well, and we'll start up our ultra production. This is an interesting position to be in. Because he is very split up, right? You can notice here, he is very much so forced to split up his units to try and hold on to this really greedy gold that he took. Very good. We're switching into Ultra, making as many as I can. And we'll also get ourselves the pathogen glands upgrade here so we can switch into... a bunch of Infestor. I'm already creating a bunch of them, just because we can. Is there a base over here? I saw a bunch of units. Yeah, okay. We'll also, of course, get the burrow upgrade because of that. The burrow upgrade is going to be very helpful. The gold base is just about to finish up, which is nice. And we'll get ourselves some more safety banelings. Still getting ultras. Waiting for the 3-3 ideally. We want to make sure that we get chitinous plating as well as 3-3 done here before I engage with the Ultralisk. Ah, you're not hotkeyed, Queen? That's annoying. Okay. Getting the burrow, of course, so we can cast the fungal growth from burrow.
We require more minerals.
Wow. And I think just in case, I may have to add on a Spire here shortly as well. Because there's a... I never actually hotkeyed that base, did I? There's a good chance that I'm gonna have to deal with Liberators shortly. And Ultras and Liberators don't really match. Okay, how's 3-3 doing? Almost done. How's the energy looking? Almost done. Very good. Burrow, almost done as well. So we got a really powerful push here. Just about to go down. I don't know if I want to hit his gold. I can. I don't know if it really matters, to be honest. I got a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get the fungals in, but my opponent just simply says GG as we just simply overpowered all of the units that he's got. Let's go back into the replay for just a little bit and see where we obtained that victory. So I'll just go back to say, I don't know, say 5 minutes into the game. Most of the early game is all decided by the creep spread as well as the, you know, amount of damage that Zerg takes. And really what it all comes down to is the amount of workers, okay? Like creep spread and you know, taking damage and all that, that's all a result of having enough workers. So notice right here, right? Remember when I mentioned that 4.5 minutes is when I'm going to start making non-stop units here. At that point in the game, it was 42 versus 33 harvesters. And I'm aware of that fact, right? It's supposed to be that way. If you drawn up greedily enough, you should be above 40 workers at the 4.5 minute mark before you really start making any units. And once again, the reason for that, the reason why I want to make sure that I get that economy upper hand is because as long as I spend my resources, right? And I've got 6 more workers just about to finish up as well. There we go. We go all the way up to 46. It was a little bit on the lower end, I suppose, but I figured that was due to me talking and playing at the same time. It was a little slow, but regardless, If you have more income than my opponent, right, and if it's like, you know, roughly 50 workers versus 35, I'm gonna get a substantial increase in income every single minute that goes by, right here, right? And as long as I'm not taking damage, the split off right there to that Widow Mine was an important one, but as long as we don't take any serious amounts of damage, I'm gonna be in a really good position because I can always be ahead when it comes to the worker counts, right? Now, let's have a look at the Hydra play. Was it really worth it? It seemed like the way my opponent was flying across the map with the Metavex, right here, for example, this is a big indication that he is assuming that I'm going Mutalisk. You can make this push at this point in the game, like this opponent is doing right here, if, you know, you're going up against Mutalisks, you can do this because the Mutas won't be out just yet. They will usually come out, I would say, probably about 8 minutes or so into the game, and most of the standard, like, Zerg versus Terran ones, where Zerg players go for the 2-2 first. So he knew fully well what was going on, but I don't think he was expecting me to have Hydralisk out. So I start shooting away at him with the Hydralisk spines, and from there on out, actually, the drop play was pretty much shut down. Sure, he goes for this little bit of aggression, but after he saw the Hydras, and I did have the links, by the way, over here as well on the left-hand side, that didn't really do a whole lot. I think I sent him back home. But after this shenanigans, he kind of stopped the drop play altogether. So the question is, were the Hydralisk worth it? I wonder. Oh, they did fly out of there? Oh, man. Oh, that was unfortunate. Anyway, I actually, well, in a game like this, right, when you're playing Hydralisk Bane, I feel like it's actually pretty solid, because it allows me to go up to a Hive at 8 minutes into the game, which is definitely very fast. Another important thing to note right here in this match, for those of you that are struggling in ZVT, is that I am constantly putting units on all of my bases. One of the most common mistakes that I see people that I coach make is that they have all of their units in one big clump. Notice right here, I got a bunch of units over here at this base, I've got a bunch of units over here at that base, I got a bunch of units over there, got a bunch of units over there, and I don't actually have any over in the natural, but this one, like when you think about it, is a Terran really gonna drop here? They're gonna drop for your main, or more than likely going to be the 4th, and maybe, you know, the natural right here, right? So I'm trying to make sure that I am at the very least protecting the bases that are potentially in some trouble, and this is a big deal. Like, obviously, I can pull all of my units together. I got them hotkeyed. I can use the all army hotkey if I really need to. That is a totally fine thing to do. But leaving them split up until you actually need them is a very, very important thing. Now, one other last thing here to note, right, is that I was playing extremely passive. I was playing very, very passive, just playing my own game, knowing that eventually I would overpower my opponent. Now, say, for example, if I wouldn't be able to do this crushing engagement for him right over there when I realized, hey, he took the gold base and he must be very split up. If I wouldn't have been able to do this engagement that is coming up here in just about a minute or so, I would probably have to switch into something else, or like get a ton of ultras going and trying to chomp my way through the planetary fortress. In some instances, you're better off to switch into to just simply switch into Brute Lords instead when you're going up against heavy turtle Terran style, like Siege Tank Planetary Fortress is very scary. Now, one last thing to note about this army before I am ending this video. If you are going Hydralisk Bane, you gotta keep in mind that you are most definitely a glass cannon. And what I mean with that is that all of your units, they do a lot of damage, they're extremely good, but they also die extremely quickly. If you're not careful, you may very well accidentally kill all your own stuff, which is why I'm playing this careful. Planetary Fortress has already picked up 12 kills in just a matter of seconds, and these siege tanks, they will be able to shell away for quite a little while longer. And if I'm not sure if I can take the engagement convincingly, I'm not going to do so either. So right here, I'm walking around knowing that he's gonna have to split off units to try and defend, you know, the gold base. So I should be capable of just simply picking off most of the units over here, and at that point, I mean, we have most definitely cleared out a huge amount of supply here for the Terran player. Forced the council right there on that base, and we still have 82 workers versus only 52. And, you know, really like the Ultra and then also the Infested transition is more or less just a nail in the coffin. So notice right here, I am, you know, lining up a whole lot of Ultralisk with Infestors and then also the Evolution Chamber upgrades. That is just sort of a nail in the coffin. If you can, you know, if you can complete that many upgrades all at once, you can make a really big push right when they finish. And that is essentially where this game ended as well. So I'm playing passive, waiting for Ultras to finish up. Got a whole lot more coming in, but I figured it's about time to go because we have the upgrades. And then we just simply walk over the amount of stuff that we have. Didn't even need the Infestors here. I guess the Infestor just sort of forced him to micro back, so there's that. But regardless, very clean game after all. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.